What is up, guys? Today I'm going to be walking through how to actually build a website that shows up and gets recommended more on ChatGPT and Google if you've just landed an AI visibility client, or if you're a business owner looking to implement this into your own business to start getting recommended more and getting more leads and more clients from ChatGPT, taking advantage of this massive opportunity that is happening right now. So let's go ahead and jump into it. Okay, so you just closed your first client. Now what? How do you build a website that not only looks clean, converts, but actually gets clients on ChatGPT? And you might be like, why do I want to get clients on ChatGPT? That's a great question. The reason why is because leads that come from ChatGPT convert 4.4 times as likely as leads that come from Google. Not only that, but more and more users use ChatGPT to find products and services instead of Google. In fact, last year already about 20% of users bought off of ChatGPT instead of Google, and by 2027 that is going to be 80%. What does that mean? It means Google will no longer exist. In fact, Google is cannibalizing into Gemini. So the Google that we use today will not exist in 2 years. That's a big shift, and business owners need to understand that. So if you're a business owner, or if you work with business owners, if you're looking to work with business owners, you also need to understand that and be like, how can I profit off of this? How can I make money? How can I take advantage of this beautiful opportunity? Because we had the dot-com boom. What happened? Businesses that were first on SEO made a lot of money. Amazon, all these big names. Next, meta ads, businesses that were first. Alex Hormozi's a one that you probably know. All came off of meta ads because it was super cheap at first, and now we're moving on to ChatGPT, organic AI visibility, and paid ChatGPT ads, and that's going to come out soon. You might be like, huh, I never heard of that. Good news, you're not early. You are early because this is a great opportunity. Okay, so here's the full 9-step process that we're going to be using to go out and build this website. First, we're going to need to gather their information, right? How many years have they been in service? What is their business name? Do they have a domain? Before and after pictures? What services do they offer? What locations are they in? Are they just everything? Next, we're going to need to pick a template. We're going to use Framer for this. We're going to go on Framer. We're going to search up, let's say it's a landscaping business. Let's say it's a med spa, whatever. You're just going to search that up, look at a couple templates, send them over all the template options, and say, and this is all free, by the way, and say, hey, what's a good option? What one do you want me to do? Next, what we're going to do is we're going to screenshot that. We're going to go put that into Lovable. Okay, great. Now, after we've done that, we're going to add all the custom details, the business information that we gathered from step 1. Next, we're going to send it over to the client with a link and say, hey, does this does this work for you? Like, what do you like? What do you not like? How can we make this better? You're going to go back and forth. Then we're going to confirm it. Once we've confirmed that, I think this is cut off, but we're going to do our SEO and AI visibility technical implementation, because Lovable decides on their own. A lot of people building these websites, they don't actually rank for ChatGPT or Google because you need to structure them properly, and that involves schema, web crawler accessibility, and a lot of other technical things that you really need to understand. For example, I have been doing this since about 6 years, and what happens when you do something for 6 years, you get really good at something, and this is a very niche thing that most people don't spend any time on or know, and most people that start with this start as an agency that don't really care about results because they're charging monthly retainers. I started as a home service business, so I did care. Guess what? Because the clients I got I made money off of, so of course, I want to get more clients. I don't care about monthly retainer because I'm not charging myself. I'm just spending every weekend playing with a website, and I was like, hey, how do I get this show first on Google? Boom, I got that. And then I was like, oh, wait, I'm starting to get clients from ChatGPT. What is this? And I dove down this deep rabbit hole, and then I came across this, and now I'm doing this. So here we are. Next, after that, you want step 8, which is launch. You want to go ahead and launch. And then you have step 9, which is maintenance and support. They want updates. They want anything like that. You want to charge them a monthly retainer. A lot of people will charge $5,000 for a website, and then you never hear from them again. The issue is that if they want customization, if something breaks, if something XYZ happens, you usually are like, how do you get a hold of them? How does this work? What do we charge? How does this XYZ? It's way easier just to sort of charge them a simple monthly retainer for anything that goes wrong with the website, because sometimes there is things that go wrong and you need to be there. Also, if you're an agency owner, it's really good to have monthly recurring revenue. I've had a business that was, upfront pricing, but then you got to sell, 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 sell. If you have monthly retainer, you can actually build a business where you can live off and enjoy life and have a business and not just a high paying job. Okay, great. So let's go into more detail. You want to gather the business information. I've already kind of gone into this, but you want to get their services, their contact information. You want to get their cities that they want to rank for top to bottom, right? What are their top 5 cities based on their ICP? Whether and you want to help them out a lot. A lot of businesses, like let's say it's a landscaping business, like I want to sell in Redmond, Washington, or I want to sell in Monroe, Washington. You might be like, hey, why don't you just target Bellevue, Washington? It's a way higher end area based on their ICP. So you want to do some research and you want to make your suggestions as well as a business owner. Now, I think it's harder to go into these agency models if you haven't actually ran businesses and you don't understand anything about business. So I would encourage you to in fact, don't start an agency, because most people who start an agency, they start an agency and then they get like, this is hard, and they just start selling their course or info. The issue with that is that you didn't really learn anything. Instead, you should go start a service-based business first, or some hard business that is pretty hard, and understand these specific pain points that these business owners are facing, and then go out and start an agency and help them. Guess what? You're going to know way more information. You're going to be able to actually scale it into something that's profitable, and you can make a lot of money with it. And you won't be able to do that if you just go and start an agency. Now, you can start an agency as well, but I would encourage you to do both. Maybe start both at the same time, something of that nature. I would encourage you just to know about business. You should understand business. You should understand LTV. There's all these things you should understand. If you want to understand it, just watch 1,000 hours of Alex Hormozi, and you'll probably know more about businesses than business owners know about themselves, and that way you can help the most, get the best results, and then you can actually start scaling and get referrals and all these other things. Boom. Okay, you want to pick a template. You want to go on Framer. I already went over this, but you want to screenshot it. Pick some templates, go back and forth with them, figure out what they like, what they enjoy the most. Next, you want to update that thing. Then you want to add the business information as well, and you want to put that into Lovable. Say, hey, build this website. What it'll do is it'll build this website, and it has lovable.dev, D-E-V at the end. This tool is amazing. If you've already used it, you know it's amazing. If you haven't used it, your mind is going to be blown. Let me just tell you, yes, you can do anything on Lovable. Yes, it's great, but just don't be distracted, because it is super distracting, because it's like giving fire to someone for the first time. You're like, oh wow, I can do a lot of things with fire, I can do millions of things with fire, but there's only one useful thing that I need to do with fire that's going to keep me alive, and that is to use it to cook food, right? And so your goal is, how can I get revenue now, not what are these hypothetical things, I can do all these software things. Great, cool, but so can everyone else. So the entire game of business has changed, and you should understand that. I know I'm talking really fast, but I'm trying to cram a lot into this, because your time is valuable and so is mine. Okay, great. Now you want to go over their brand colors. You want to add any images, before and after images, service pages, testimonials, Google My Business connections, Yelp, Instagram connections, all of that stuff. Then you want to go over revisions with the client. You don't want to go, if they're going back and forth for like 20 different rounds, you need to have a contract when you close them that says, hey, only go like 3 or 4 rounds, or whatever, 10 rounds, or whatever you want to put that in contract. You should really build a contract. If you want help building a contract, you can go ahead and comment, and I'll help you with that. But you really need to have a contract, because that's a big thing with these, because you don't have a contract. It's just his word versus her word, or his word versus his word. It doesn't really matter. Next, you want to get the written sign off, get them to say on email, hey, I'm ready to go, this is live, I want this, ready to go. And then you can sell them on an AEO and SEO optimization. Now, I like to do this for business owners, just kind of included in the price, because I kind of put it as like one deal. Or you can just make this an upsell, like, hey, I already built the site, it's live, can I update it to be optimized for SEO and AEO, and charge another like one-time fee for that, or charge a monthly fee for that, or however you want to price it. There's a lot of things you can do, and there's a lot of big things you can do with this. Big thing is schema, FAQ questions, web crawl accessibility. Citations is a big one. That's a huge one. Citations and backlinks. So let's say you have a local blog for landscaping, right? Go ahead and reach out to that local blog on their behalf and say, hey, how much would it cost for you to backlink, which is just add a link to their site, and add a whole bunch of authority signals, and it might be like, oh, it's $500, and throw that over to the business. So, hey, I really suggest you do this because of XYZ. They'll probably do it. They'll get better results. They'll make $20,000 off it. They had a good ROI. Now you have a case study. Now they're happy. Now they're going to refer you and all these other things. Again, you really need to know your stuff if you're going to start an agency. But it's not that hard, and you might be overwhelmed by all these technical stuff. It took me 6 years to figure out. But if you have someone that already knows what they're doing, it's going to be way easier to figure this out. And if you're a business owner, you're trying to figure all this stuff out, I would highly recommend you find people that already know how to do this stuff, because this is a lot and it takes, you know, thousands of hours, just like learning to trade, right? It's going to take about 5 to 10,000 hours to really learn something and understand something and be able to talk for thousands of hours on that thing, because you really know your shit and you can weed out different agencies. A big thing, if you're trying to find agencies too, like you're confused, have like 3 or 4 different agencies and put them on a call and have them debate. You know what I mean? You'll see the ones that actually know what they're doing. You see the ones that don't. And also jump on mini calls with different agencies and you'll see the people that actually know what they're doing versus the ones that don't. Because a lot of these agencies, they don't actually know what they're doing, which is why it's such a good business to go into if you actually know the trade. Right? Imagine there was a whole bunch of welders, but no one actually knew how to weld. And then one guy who actually knew how to weld came into the welding industry and did a way better job. That guy's going to do way better. And that's the same with these type of industries. So there's still, you know, it might be like it's saturated, but it's really not saturated at all. And then you want to launch, you want to set up Google My Business, you want to connect everything, have them push it, have them get reviews if you just set up their Google My Business, all of that stuff. And then you want to do maintenance and support. You can also do upsells, whether it's an AI receptionist, whether it's review management, whether it's social media content, whether it's custom software that you can also build on Lovable, whether it's a million different things based on that niche, or pricing calculator, all these upsells for setup fees, monthly retainers, all of this. And the LTV on B2B digital services, especially MRR services, is insane. It's one of the best business models to go into, and I'm saying that from coming from a very hard business model before this, and it's really a great business, but you really have to understand it and know what you're doing, or you're just not going to get results. You don't get results, you're not going to do well, and you're not going to like it, because you only like things that you actually gain a value. Now, if you want to, let me see, call to action. If you guys want to like this video, comment. I don't really have anything to sell you. If you're a business owner, you want help with this stuff, or you just want to talk about this stuff, feel free to comment below. I don't think I'm too new to this to YouTube for it to add links yet, so I can't add any links. But yeah, if you want to like this video, subscribe, and I'm going to continue to make content to educate and push this new stuff, because in the wave of AI, all of business is changing drastically, and I want you to stay ahead and be adaptive, because obviously you don't have 10 hours a day to obsess up all this marketing and AI and website and all these things that are coming out, but I do, and I really enjoy it. So it's a symbiotic relationship. I learn this stuff, you get better, and guess what? When you get better, maybe it makes sense for us to work together, but in order for us to work together, you need to get to a point where you can actually even understand what AI is and how can you implement that business, because it's really hard to sell something that a business owner doesn't even understand. So that's why I make these educational videos. Again, if you liked it, please like this video, comment, subscribe. If you want any other tips, or if you have anything related to AI that you want to learn or you want me to make a video on, drop it in the comments below, and I will look forward to serving you guys. Best of luck. Peace.